You don't have a content problem. You have a voice problem, and no AI tools fix that until you do one thing first. Hello, I'm Paul, and welcome to my podcast, the Paul Higgins Podcast. And in today's episode, I'm so excited that we talk to Molly Mahoney from the Prepared Performer. You will learn a hell of a lot from Molly. It's one of our best shows ever, but in particular, why identifying what makes you a unique, weird human is the only real differentiator left in an AI saturated market. How to use the voice framework to build AI agents that actually sound like you, not like every other consultant using the same tools, and how to use the APR method to get real mileage from every video you create without starting from scratch each time. Molly is a digital marketing strategist, keynote speaker, and former NYC performer who helps entrepreneurs blend AI-powered marketing with authentic human connection. With viral content hitting over 39 million, that's right, 39 million views and featured in Forbes and Inc., she launched the world's first AI-focused content membership back in 2021, 2 years before ChatGPT was even a thing. She believes your weird is your superpower, and the more fun you have, the more money you make. I'll now hand you over to Molly from the preparedperformer.com. So excited to have you here today, Molly.
Hey, super excited to be here with you.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to hear you on Michael Stolzen's podcast, the AI Explored, which I never miss. So, Michael, big shout out to you. But I
He's
heard you
the
on, and I thought,
best.
I've got to have you on here. Got to have you on here. So we've got so much to cover today. But why don't we kick off with, who are your ideal clients? Who do you love to work with?
Yeah, so we help mainly expert based businesses. And when I say that, I mean coaches, consultants, agency owners, people who have a true expertise. So there's this problem out in the world of easy bake AI experts, is what I call them, like in the 60s when they had an easy bake oven. But people like your clients who are true experts at what they do. And we help them to build their personal brand, to get more clients, and do this all with, the magic of AI behind it all.
Fantastic. And, like building that personal brand is difficult for some. I certainly know my audience that's definitely you. But what other problems do you see in them building this content machine that
Yeah,
they should
well,
have?
we have this other problem of these AI zombie robots that have now infiltrated the internet. I don't know if you know about this, but AI is so awesome and so many people are using it wrong. And so I'm sure you get it, especially on like LinkedIn. There's all these comments that are not actually from humans. It's
Yes.
just the AI talking to the AI. And so we really try to help people to be able to understand who they are as human beings first. Use the AI and the automation to supplement that, to amplify their true voice. But I know that is the thing that oftentimes a lot of our clients hide underneath their desk from because they don't want to face who they actually are or whatever it is. So we help them to recognize that the only differentiator is actually you.
Yeah, well said, well said, and we're going to definitely dive into that. And what are the best way that you help these people? I know you got a community, but what
Yeah.
other ways do you help them?
Yeah, so we have several different levels. I teach this method called the Goldilocks method, which means that you want to make sure that you don't have something that's too cold or too hot. You've got something that's just right for every person. And so we have a brand new AI tool that writes all your content for you called the Spotlight Engine. That's like our entry level. And then above that, we have a program called the AI Content Club, which I actually started all the way back in 2021. So we created the world's first AI focused content membership about 2 years before ChatGPT, which is
Yes.
super cool. Then we have a certification called AI Stars, and then a mastermind called Multiply. And then every once in a while, we work with people privately to help train their teams to build out these AI and automation systems and get them on more stages and all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. And then we all those links in the show notes. So if you're driving, you're walking, etc., don't worry about that. We'll have those waiting for you when you get back home. But you talked about the AI Content Club started in 2021. What did you see that many missed or
Yeah.
many didn't get onto as quick as you did?
Man, I'm so grateful, like as my future self, looking back on myself in 2021, I'm so grateful that I was brave enough to go all in on it back then. To be totally honest, I just saw that it was so fun. Like I used these AI tools and it was because of Jasper. So shout out to my ex-boyfriend, Jasper, who I am no longer a subscriber of, but I loved that AI tool. Did you use it back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was so awesome. So it was originally called conversion.ai, then they called it Jarvis, then they got the cease and desist from Thor and they could no longer call it Jarvis because that was too close to the Iron Man AI tool. Then it became Jasper. And I saw that so many of my clients were stuck on, how to write their hooks, how to write their content, all of this.
Yes.
And Jasper really, not only did it give my clients an easier way to write their content, but it really taught me a lot about copywriting as well. And I found that a lot of people, when they were using AI, especially in the beginning, they would, we say now like garbage in, garbage out, but that wasn't as well known back then. So I came up with this idea of dancing with the AI. So we actually launched a program called Dancing with Jarvis. And I created it really as a program for the people who came into the Jarvis tool using my affiliate link. So if they purchased through my affiliate link, this was a bonus way to help them use that tool. But as everything kept getting better and better, and that community was growing, more and more people were blown away by what AI could do. And then because we focus so much on the human side of things, we really use this idea of dancing with the AI to balance the robots and the human connection. And it just, when ChatGPT came out, everything just exploded. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And, you sort of talked about the fact that there's so much, AM dashes, you can see them everywhere, but you can see like, there's no way you spoke about that. There's common words, etc. Like, how do you help your clients avoid the AI slop as it's called?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is that you have to actually figure out what you want in your life as a human being. Who are you as a human? So before we even look at your ideal client, your offers, any of that, we start with who you are as a human. And that's a scary thing for a lot of people. So we created an acronym. The idea is this concept of the quesadilla of awesome. Have you heard me talk about this before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So basically you make a list of the 20 things that make you a uniquely awesome human being. And then once you've made that list, you fill yourself up with all the things that make you awesome. And then you feed that into the AI systems. So before we even talk about your grammar choices or whether you like M dashes or whatever, we start with the things that make you weird, because weird is wonderful. And your weird is actually your superpower. So we start with that fact. And then we have a whole method that we can talk about on how we actually create prompts and AI tools and all of that. But it has to start with who you are as a human being and make sure you identify your weird.
And those 20 things, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are, do you interview yourself? Do you ask people? Like, what are some hacks in coming up with those 20 things? Because
Yeah. So it's interesting because some people, and I have been teaching this quesadilla of awesome since, I don't know, I used to teach it before I was doing business coaching. So I started as a musical theater performer professionally.
Yes.
And I then started teaching singing lessons. I followed, thanks to Michael Stelzner, actually another shout out to Mike. I followed everything Pat Flynn said to do, and I built my entire business based on what Pat Flynn said. So shout out to Pat as well.
Yeah.
And I would teach this to singing students when I first started my business. And it's interesting because some people would instantly be able to write down all these things that they loved, the things that made them unique. Some people, often the more successful people, would freeze.
Yes.
And there's this singer-songwriter named David Wilcox. I don't know if you know who he is. Do you know who that is? It's so random. But he has a song lyric that says, the balance isn't harder. It's just that you've got farther. It's just that you've got farther to fall. And I think that's what happens sometimes when we've built something successful. And it's like, well, I can't tell people who I am. What? Right? So we created an acronym to help people fill out all of these things. I can share the acronym if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the word save. And if you're watching this on video, you'll see that I'm holding up 5 fingers. You may think save only has 4 letters, but because I can't spell, I spell my acronyms wrong. So I just want you to get over my bad spelling. So it's SAAVE. And so the S is for your skill sets. That's the things that you're naturally gifted at. The A is your appearance. And Perfect example. This morning, I had a meeting with a potential VA that I was going to hire, and she said, "Oh, your hair. I saw pictures of you online and it was like colored blue and purple. What happened to your hair color?" And I was like, I let it go. I just have my natural gray right now. So, right before this interview, my hair was like freshly cleaned, and I decided to try and put some blue back in my hair. And my husband came up here before I got on this interview, and I was like, because my hair was like sticking straight up with this blue hair dye. And I was like, my quesadilla of awesome is showing. So just know that the appearance thing, it's not about how you feel, it's not about how other people feel about the way you look. It's what you feel about the way you look. So it's really like, what are the things that make you feel like a confident rock star?
Yeah.
So appearance, then your activities that you love separate from your business. Knitting, crocheting, dancing, Disneyland. Like we talked about Disney before starting the interview, and it gave us something to instantly connect about. So activities, your values, and this is the things as a human being that matter to you. So for me, it's joy, kindness, staying in action. All those things are really important, and I weave those into my business, but more importantly, they matter to me as a human. And then the final thing is a little tricky. It's things you like to eat. Yes. And so if you identify food that you either love or that you really don't love, and you talk about it, it creates this polarizing stickiness, and people will remember you. So I can give you some examples if you want, but that's the whole quesadilla of awesome.
Well, I can give you an example now. My mother thought I was a monkey when I was a child. I can't eat a banana anymore. So to me, I'm polarized to bananas. But that's...
happen to have a disco banana with me.
There you go. And that,
just so you know.
Yeah. And Paul Higgins Mentoring is the YouTube channel. You've got to watch this one on YouTube, right? If you must watch it, just even if it's for that. I think like you seem dead obvious that you're an extrovert. You're so full of energy. You're so fun to talk to. Some of my clients, I always love being behind the scene, right? They're the technical guys. Like I'd rather be in a room quietly programming than, getting out. But everyone wants me to get out, right? Like what's the advice you give to people that are so far back? How do we move them forward?
I actually have such a good use case for this, and AI has had a major impact on some of my clients who feel the same way. So I have one client, Dottie Scott, who does web design. She's awesome as a human, but she wasn't doing as much video as she could have been doing. And then my other amazing client, Andy Franco, who does Facebook ads, again, awesome, personable, but was not doing video.
Yes.
So they both started using Sora when Sora first came out. Do you use Sora much?
I don't. I know of it, but I haven't used it.
I know it's not available everywhere, but I think it's available in Australia now. If not Sora, there's other ways that you can do it, but Sora is the easiest way to do it. So it's the video generator that's attached to ChatGPT.
Yes.
So it's OpenAI's video tool, and it's Sora 2 is the one that you want. And basically what you can do is you can create a character that is you. Yes. And it is the easiest method for training yourself on video. So all you have to do is take a very short video. It gives you a few numbers to say on the bottom of the screen, and then you turn your head right to left, up and down. Yes. So it's like 8, 17, 32, or whatever it says, and then it's trained. And what I love about this is that Sora is built with storytelling elements inside of it. So the prompts don't need to be really like robust. Yes. We actually have an app called Sora Spark that helps to write the prompts for you. But what this does is it allows you to not only do videos with yourself, but if other people have a Sora character, you can use the @ symbol just like you would on social. Yes. And tag them in that video, and it'll create a video of you and that person together. So Andy, for example, dove all the way in, and he started doing these interviews with people on Sora where he would go look at their social media and then do a Sora interview, really short, like 15 seconds. But it was awesome because it edified the other person. It had that connection element. And then he says that seeing himself on quote unquote camera in these AI videos gave him more confidence to do regular videos because he saw that he could do it.
And is Sora a closed platform? Like, can you only see the Sora videos within Sora, or can you put them wherever you want?
You can download them. They currently have the little watermark on it that
Yes.
says Sora on top of it, but there's apps out there that will delete the watermark for you if you want to do that. I usually leave the watermark on it because I don't want to trick anybody.
Yeah.
I find them hilarious. My husband is always like, "Oh my gosh," with these Sora videos, but I think they're so funny, and I could just watch my own Sora videos all night. But I use them in my when I speak on stage, I use Sora videos in my presentations a lot. I use them as on the sales page for Sora Spark. It has an AI generated video that is like a VSL that I did all in Sora.
Yes.
It's so easy. So that's a really easy way to start to feel more confident and put yourself out there.
Brilliant. And I know that you created a whole podcast based on cloning yourself with AI. There's always, two schools of thought about this. Why are you recommending that you do create AI versions of yourself?
Yeah. So with that podcast, it's called the Content Club Podcast. And I did it actually modeled after the just another shout out for Pat Flynn's podcast called Ask Pat, which he had
Yes.
years ago. I was on it like the
Yeah, I've been on it as
240th.
well.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
Woo, woo. So he has this really awesome system where people submit questions and then he answers the questions in a short podcast. I did it as a challenge for myself. So I was flying to Florida to go on the podcasters cruise. And I was like, I wonder if I could create an all AI podcast while I'm on this flight. So I had a post where a bunch of people had asked questions.
Yes.
I had an AI tool that was trained in my voice. I put the questions in. I told it to answer the questions. It was trained on my book, some webinars that I had done and things like that. And then I said, great, here's a format for a podcast episode. Now write the episode, put that into 11 Labs. I created 8 episodes while I was on this flight. Wild.
Okay.
Now, I haven't done anything with it since then because really it was just an experiment. But I do think for those people who are looking for easy ways to get content out there, it is such an easy way to do it. I also think that being an actual human being has become more and more of a rarity and a commodity. So when it comes to video clones, I'm really only using video clones for 2 or 3 things, which I can share if you want to know.
Yeah, quick.
So the first is Sora videos that are funny on Instagram and things like that. So that's the first one. The second is if I'm doing a tech tutorial and I don't want to be on camera. So like sometimes I'll get up early and be like, oh, I'm going to create that video, but I don't want to be on camera. I'll record the tech tutorial with no camera showing.
Yes.
And then I'll use HeyGen to do an AI video intro for me. So I have the AI video intro that is like, if you've been struggling with blah, 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 well, get excited because I'm going to help you to blah, blah, blah in this video. Yes, I am an AI clone, but the real Molly's going to take it away. And then it goes to the real me. So, and sometimes I actually will do that with the AI video, but I use my real voice.
Gotcha.
And I find the 11 Labs voice is great, but I find that because I talk like, right? I'm like cuckoo when I talk. And so I prefer to actually use my real voice for those intros. And then I just use my AI clone video on top of it. I love what people like Onyx and Gall are doing and these like very high quality AI clones, but that's not really the game I play in. I'm doing things that are quick, easy, make sales.
Yeah, great. And I know that you, we're sort of talking about that whole personality coming through. I know that you've got the voice framework. Yeah. So take us through the voice framework and how this applies to content.
Yeah. So I created this when I first started creating custom GPTs. So now we're doing way more than custom GPTs. We're creating gems and skills and using Claude Code, and we're doing MindPal and high level and blah, 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 all these things.
Yes.
All that being said, when I speak on stage, I always ask, how many of you have never created a custom GPT? And you would be mind blown to know that it's usually about 50% of the room.
Really?
Even when I was a keynote speaker at the high level event, 50% of the room, people using or at least aware of high level, which for those of you that don't know, Go High Level is the website. It's a really advanced, AI or marketing tool that has all this AI capability built in it. And so I call it custom GPTs just so that everybody understands the foundation, but you can use this actually for any AI agents that you're building out.
Yes.
And what I found was that 2 things were important. The first is AI without soul is spam.
Yes.
So we have to make sure that we're weaving in that human side.
Yes.
The second piece is AI loves structure. So if you give these AI tools a bunch of soul, but no structure, you're going to get a hodgepodge hallucination mess.
Yes.
So we've structured this in a way that makes it really easy for the AI tools to understand what you want them to do. So I love acronyms. So it's the acronym is the word voice.
Yes.
And the V stands for the vocation. That's the role and the expertise that you want this AI agent to have. The O is the objective, and that's getting really clear about the purpose. What's the goal of this AI agent? The I is for the insights, and this is where you add in any relevant information. So in the prompt, I'll put a lot of things there, but then I'll also add information into the knowledge base or the knowledge source. The C is communication, and that's for the voice and the tone. One other thing that we'll add for this is I love to create a glossary of terms that you say. Like I say weird things like shiz, like that's some good shiz, whatever. And so my AI, I have an AI voice agent that speaks and she's always like, oh, Molly is filled with the good shiz, right? It's like, it's super funny, but a lot of people don't say that. So
Yes.
figure out the words that you actually say.
Yes.
And then the E is for your execution. And so this is the composition and the format where you can give it examples of how you actually want it to write. And so I have a GPT that will write your GPT source prompt. And so it does it for us. We just tell it what we want. It makes sure it asks you the questions if it doesn't have all the relevant information. And then it's awesome because it does it all for you, which I love.
Right. Right. Well, we're recording this in March of 26. So, there's always every day there's a, massive change in the platforms, etc. But for you, for if I'm starting out and I want to write better content, is there a particular LLM that you think people should start with versus another? Or, what's your view on that?
I find that Claude and Gemini are really my two favorites at the moment.
Yeah.
Claude just continues to level it up and just speak all my love languages and has so many other capabilities on the back end. So I find that I go to Claude and Gemini when I'm really looking to write juicy stuff. My problem is that since I've been using ChatGPT so much,
Yes,
it still really does know me better than anyone. And there's all these ways to pull your data out of ChatGPT. But man, it's like a bad habit. I think when I go to use AI, it's like it's the first thing I instantly pull up and I have to remind myself how much better Claude is. So yeah, I like to play with all three of those just to kind of see which results I get out of each of them.
yes,
Sometimes I do think that Claude is a little too flowery. And
yes.
in March of 2026, ChatGPT really let me down in the past couple of months because they made that switch away from 4.0. I don't know how you feel about it, but the new model drives me bonkers. So I learned this from a friend. I came up with a really cool way to get it back to being straightforward. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah, definitely.
So I told it that it now has 3 different modes. I was at a networking event talking about this. I can't even remember the awesome human's name who told me this, but I tried it when I got home that night and it totally worked. I said, you now have upgraded. You have 3 different modes. The first mode is where you just do what I tell you to do. It's like I tell you and you go. You don't worry about all this extra clarification. You just do the thing I want. You have enough information already.
Yes.
The second mode is more of like a brainstorm where we are kind of, working on things together, asking a few questions. That's mode number 2. And then the third mode is where you do not let me off the hook. You ask me all the questions, you go deep, and your default mode is mode number 1. And it's done it. It's been weeks and it's like fixed all of the annoyance that I had with it. So,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I must admit, I'm leaning towards the latter two. So
Yeah.
on Claude Gemini, I clone both. And what I do is always have my prompts or instructions in Google Drive. So if either ever falls over, if something happens, I've always got a default
Yeah.
position that I can move it to whatever one I want to. So that's my little hack to.
That's such a great thing. We actually have a spreadsheet of all of our GPTs,
Yeah.
and it has a title, the description, the link to the GPT, and then the source prompt is in there. So we have like 174 GPTs, and it's been so helpful to have it in there. We've started using Claude Code to
Yes.
just rebuild them for us.
Yeah. Well, look, it's I'm just experimenting with co-work and already it's like quite incredible. Yesterday, I just got the desktop, the Chrome extension and just had my LinkedIn open. I said, go through every post, analyze all my posts and tell me what I should be doing more, less of, give me all the stats, etc. I went away, did something, came back, there it was. It was
Yeah,
like,
it's
it's
amazing.
brilliant.
I love it.
It's fantastic. What I love to encourage my clients with is they say, Paul, I don't know how to generate stuff. I say, you know what? You've already generated it all. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you sit in meetings every day, whether they're client meetings, sales meeting, team meetings, you're talking all the time. You've got that, whether it's, in Zoom, in Fathom, whatever, Firefly, whatever, right? I said, just use that to start with. Like, you've already
Yeah.
got all this. So what are some tips that you've got around that workflow that can help people create content from what they've already done?
Yeah, so we use that type of a process in the beginning for collecting. We call it like a story bank also. So
Yep.
you can take all of these transcripts, all of that data, and then have it pull out, we call it your company details. So we have a whole prompt for identifying, or whole process for identifying your brand voice, getting clear about your unique differentiator. The quesadilla of awesome, it will pull from, but you really should do that part as a human being.
Yes.
It'll pull stories. And then what we do is we create what we call a tree of beliefs. So we always start with the buying beliefs that your ideal client needs to have in order to make a purchase.
Gotcha.
And so if everything we do goes through that funnel, even if you're creating content that's based on like an SEO keyword, we still want to make sure that it's tapping into one of those beliefs. And then your focus is to build a library of content that you can send people back to or repeat again and again. And once you've created about 3 months of content, it's awesome because you can start to repost things, like rework and repost. So we've built our own tool. We love Base 44. I don't know if you heard that episode of
Yes.
So I love Base 44, and I built an app that's called the Spotlight Engine that people just fill in their company details. You can load a PDF for your website. It'll fill out your profile. Then the next step is it creates your buying beliefs. Then you select one belief and it creates an entire week of content.
Yes.
The content that we create is based on two things. One is unlocking the algorithm so it brings engagement in, that you're actually talking to human beings. And then the other is providing value that has some sort of call to action to get people off of these platforms, which we call bringing them to your party bus.
Yes.
So this is like your email list, your CRM. We get them off of the platform. Then once they're off the platform, we can take them around to the different things, right? So someone learns about sees a video of me talking about Claude Code on Instagram. I say, if you want the guide, comment below. They comment below. They get sent an automated message from High Level that then asks for their email address. Then now they get emails. So then when I have a big party, which is like a webinar or a masterclass, they come to that. We make an offer. They throw their credit cards at our face, and it's all awesome.
Oh, brilliant. And talking platforms, the obvious ones are LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, which you've talked about. What are the nuances upon those three big ones? And are there any, like TikTok's
Wait,
the
which
one
ones
that
did you say?
So I said LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram as an example. I
Yeah.
didn't mention TikTok, but if I'm a consultant and I'm starting, I've been in the closet, I'm coming out, I'm like, I'm going to follow exactly what Molly said. I'm going to create all this awesome content. Where should I be putting it?
First, you should go for the one that you can tolerate the most. I was going to say the one that you like the most, but I have a sinking feeling that some people here may not really even like any of these. So go for the one that you can tolerate the most. You want to make sure your people are actually spending time there.
Yes.
So you've got to figure out who your ideal client is. What do they care about? Where are they spending time? Now, for me, out of all those platforms, I actually do none of those, and I mainly focus on Facebook. So we didn't mention Facebook yet.
Gotcha.
But I have found that my Facebook personal profile brings in way more in terms of reach, real connections, and revenue.
Gotcha.
I like that. Those were 3 R's. I've never said that before, but reach, real connections, and revenue. That's like a good thing there.
There you go.
It's not as easy to automate things there, which I think is also part of the reason we get such good results there, because people trust that it's a real human, because the API does not allow you to connect through other tools.
Yes.
But you can systematize it. And so we have a really great system there. I'll post on Instagram and have it go to Facebook automatically. So I'll use those two together. I think that for a lot of people in your space, LinkedIn could be a great place to go. I just don't enjoy LinkedIn as much as I do in Facebook. So we're starting to do more on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
TikTok for me is like fake. It's not fake. I just repost things there. I don't ever actually log in.
Yes.
But YouTube and Facebook, I would say, are my main two platforms, with Instagram being a close third runner up.
Yeah, great. And with YouTube, I know you've had, 39 million views to a particular video,
Yeah.
which is just
So that was
unbelievable.
actually on my Facebook business page, which I think is
Ah,
so weird. It's like the
right.
craziest thing that's ever happened. And Facebook paid me $30,000 for that one 13-second video.
Wow.
I still can't even believe it was real. It really happened. They really paid me. It was so strange, but it worked.
That is
And that was
brilliant.
when they were really trying to compete with TikTok. So they were giving massive levels of monetization for TikTok.
Yes.
I have a lot of friends who create viral content now, and they do okay on the monetization side, but the real money comes from when you're selling your own products. So I would just be careful on the virality,
Yes.
because when I start to go viral, it waters down my leads with unqualified people who aren't really my ideal clients. So then it stresses me out and adds more headache on the back end. I would rather have less reach of the right people than go bananas with the 30,000 views or million or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And for your, let's say for your consulting clients with YouTube, what are some key lessons that you can share on YouTube videos?
Yeah. So I have had loads of success with actual clients coming from YouTube. I will just preface this by the fact that I don't claim to be like a quote unquote YouTube expert, but I can tell you how to make money. So
Yeah.
I hope that is helpful. So I like to say that what you do around your video is more important than what you do in your video. And so often I will hear people be like, well, I'm posting a weekly video on YouTube. And then I say, okay, so how often are you sending an email? Oh, well, I'm sending an email once a week. I'm like, what are you sending in that? Oh, just like a personal note with some reflections. And I'm like, are you sending people to the YouTube video? Well, no. So once you get people on your party bus, send them back to your content. So it's such an easy thing to do. So there's a method that I came up with in 2016 that really helps. The first is, it's called the APR method. APR.
Yep.
I am filled with all the acronyms today. I apologize, but I hope they are helpful.
That's right. I worked at the code company. They were full of them. So yeah, I'm used to it.
Okay. So A is announce. You want to announce the fact that the video is even happening.
Yeah.
I usually do a post on Instagram or Facebook that says, I've got this training coming. Do you want it? Let me know below. I did it on Monday, worked wonders. People
Yes.
comment below. I'm like, great. I'm putting it out Monday morning at noon. Mark your calendar. Then pretend people are there live. Even if nobody shows up live, or if you're pre-recording,
Yes.
I like to say, be like Mr. Rogers. Do you know Mr. Rogers?
No.
Okay, I taught a high school class and none of the kids knew who Mr. Rogers was, and my heart like broke into a million pieces. But you have an excuse because you are not a cuckoo American. So Mr. Rogers was a phenomenal human in the 60s. He still had the show when I was a kid in the 80s, but he had a show called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and it was a public broadcast show where he taught people how to be kind and be good humans. And he was really, really top notch. So
Yeah.
I say just be like Mr. Rogers anyway, but also his TV show did so well because of one thing. And in the documentary, he says this. He says he thinks it did so well because he spoke to one person.
Yeah.
He didn't say, hey, everybody in the neighborhood. He always started the episode by saying, hey, neighbor. And so it was like speaking to that one person. So that's the
Yes.
pretend.
Yes.
And then the R is repurpose. So after that video's done, don't just leave it there to die. Turn it into show notes, turn it into snippets, turn it into quotes that you're putting out, right? We're doing these huge AEO blog posts. Like there's LinkedIn articles, like all these different things that you can do with that one video piece of content. In 2018, I spoke at Traffic and Conversion, and I taught a system where you could take one video and turn it into 100 pieces of content. That was before AI. So imagine what you can do now.
Yeah. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And look, that's the thing I love about this. Like you said, it's the human. You still got to have the main human component, but all the stuff that was hard has got so much easier, right?
Yeah.
So you can
It's
be
awesome.
you more often rather than doing all the hard work to do it. Look,
Yeah.
we could go on forever, Molly, but I want to be respectful of you. listening, because you've got to go and implement the stuff that Molly's told you or is given advice on. But what I want to do now is just pause, thank our sponsors, and then we'll come back for the rapid fire. Quick break. If you're getting value from these stories, join my newsletter. Every week I share what's working with tech consultants escaping the project grind. Who to target, what business models work best, real client transformations. No fluff, just the pattern I've seen work over 200 times. Join at paulhigginsmentoring.com newsletter. Now back to the podcast. So, Molly, ready for the rapid fire?
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
All right. So, the first one, we've talked a lot about AI. We've talked about different tools, but what's an AI tool that's really impressing you right at the moment?
Okay, I'm so excited to answer this. It is Perplexity Computer. It is an OpenClaw replacement. I do not think you need Moltblot, ColdBlot, whatever the blah, 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 whatever all that stuff is.
Yeah.
Perplexity Computer will connect to your Slack. It builds, or all different other tools. It builds multiple agents to get things done more rapidly, and I am obsessed with it. It's only available right now on the $200 level. Hopefully it will be available at another level. But I'm telling you, even if you just get it for 1 month to do all this research for you, and it not only does the research, I had it go, Austin Armstrong taught me this prompt, where you have it go do all this research on YouTube, find the outlier videos, create thumbnails with your own face, and give you video topics that you should do.
Wow.
One prompt, it created all of it, including the thumbnails.
Wow.
I was blown away.
That is incredible. You've mentioned that, like the amount of content you put out and the quality content's huge, but is there any other go-to-market strategy that's really working for you at the moment?
Yeah, in addition to content or with content specifically?
In addition.
Oh, yeah. So this may blow your mind, but talking to human beings is still the number one thing you can do. So we teach a system where, in addition to doing a monthly leveraged offer, like a webinar, demo call, something like that, get your booty out of your house and go to an in-person event. There is nothing like it. And if you're posting content, people will come up to you and be like, "Oh, I saw your content." And you're like, "Why didn't you actually comment or like it?" People will see things, and when you go see them in real life, you will be amazed. Get out of your house and go talk to people.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Where do you go to learn all this awesomeness?
Oh, man, there's so many cool places. So I use a tool called RSS app that combines all of my favorite RSS feeds into one, and then it sends us updates inside my Slack channel, which I'm super grateful for. I also have this very awesome mastermind community. I learn from my clients sometimes more than anything else, which is awesome. And then I'm in a couple of messenger chats that are all AI cuckoo people who just live and breathe this stuff, which is great. And we live and breathe it so that you guys don't have to, is what we always say.
Spot on. We make it easy for you. And the last one is, what do you know now that you wish you had known when you started this AI journey in 2021?
I know that I was ahead of the curve, but I don't think I realized how valuable that was. And I do wish I had said no to more things so that I could really prioritize massively building out a few AI entities, because I hesitated on saying, even I still sometimes today, I'm like, AI expert, I don't know. It changes so fast. By the time we're done with this interview, everything's going to have changed. Yes. So I get a little not imposter syndrome, but a little, I still want to make sure I'm prioritizing the human authenticity. But even with how awesome it's been, I think that if I had really said no to a few more things and gone even deeper, we'd be able to impact even more people.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. So, like I said, all the links are going to be in the show notes. Please go and watch Molly on YouTube, the Paul Higgins Mentoring channel. That'll be in there. And I know that you've got something for everyone that's listened today. So what's that?
Yeah, so I hinted at that little GPT generator. So I actually am going to give you guys a custom GPT for free. And so this will allow you to create an AI agent that really is specifically designed to do exactly what you want it to do. So if you go to molly.live/Higgins, which is this awesome human, Paul's last name, Higgins, that will get you access.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, well, We'll have that, all the other links in the show notes. But once again, Molly, thanks for coming on and sharing your awesomeness. And I hope to bump into you at Disneyland sometime soon.
Yeah, me too. Hey, and if you're coming to Social Media Marketing World, which is in Anaheim, we can go to Disney together because we're all going to be there. So
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
What an amazing interview with Molly. Your human voice has to come first. Then you let AI amplify it, right? That was a very clear message from Molly. And if your content sounds like everyone else's, the tools aren't the problem. Start with Molly's SAVE framework. And remember, she spells it differently. It's SAAVE, and build it from there. Molly has a free custom GDP that she mentioned in the podcast. It's a source prompt generator, and you can get it at molly.live/Higgins. The link will be in the show notes. It'll write your AI agent's source prompt in your own voice, which is exactly what you want. Also, reach out to Molly on LinkedIn and thank her for her awesome interview, and also ask her questions. You can see how giving and caring she is. You can watch this episode, if you're not already, at the Paul Higgins Mentoring channel on YouTube. And this one in particular, I highly recommend. Even if you've listened to the audio, go and watch it. It's an absolute showstopper. I'll see you next time on the Paul Higgins podcast. What's your key takeaway from today? I'd love to hear. Want weekly insights on who to target and what to sell? Join my newsletter at paulhigginsmentoring.com/newsletter and share this with another tech consultant ready to escape the project grind.